Hello, and thank you for joining us at xm.com. For this Forex Preview video, we'll be looking at the Bank of Canada policy meeting. I'm Cristina Marujos, and joining me today is investment analyst Mario Sotiriakos. Canada was one of the few major economies that tackled the first wave of the pandemic fairly well, with its economy bouncing back quite easily. However, the country is now tackling a second wave of infections, while the latest data suggests the economy is losing steam. So, Mario's, the Bank of Canada is concluding its policy meeting on Wednesday, and there is talk of a rate cut being in the cards. What do you think policymakers will signal?
Hello, Christina. Well, I don't expect a rate cut, but I do expect very dovish commentary from the Bank of Canada and perhaps an increase to their QE program. So let's explain. The last few weeks have been a relatively difficult period for the Canadian economy. We went back into lockdowns, the vaccine rollout has been relatively slow, and on top of that, the loonie has appreciated quite drastically, which is bad news for the nation's exporters and ultimately for economic growth. So the markets, or some pockets in the market, are betting for a rate cut. I should say this speculation is not huge. The market pricing implies just a 20% probability for a 10 basis points rate cut, which is not significant by any means, but it is there. Now, why don't I expect a rate cut at this meeting? There have been some negative developments, but not all of it has been bad. So, for example, the economy might be slowing down lately, but oil prices have recovered very powerfully. And Canada is a major exporter of oil, so this is great news. Additionally, you have the US going on a federal spending spree, and some of that is bound to spill over into Canada as well. And the domestic economy is not completely destroyed by any means. The latest business survey by the Bank of Canada itself was pretty optimistic, and it suggested that the economy was in a good spot until the lockdowns. But perhaps the biggest argument against an immediate rate cut is that it could backfire. If the market sense that the Bank of Canada has used up all of its ammunition and it doesn't want to go to negative rates, you could see some adverse market effects. For example, long-term borrowing costs might even increase, and that's the opposite of what the Bank of Canada wants. And on top of everything, the housing market in Canada is already on fire, and another rate cut could add more fuel to that fire and increase financial stability risk, which the Bank of Canada also wants to avoid. The only real benefit from a rate cut would be to clip the loonie's wings, but in my view, if you simply threaten the markets with a rate cut instead of implementing it, that could actually be more effective against currency appreciation.
That's very interesting, Marios, but it looks like Canada is going to have a busy week. Apart from the Bank of Canada meeting, this week holds some important economic data releases, more specifically CPI inflation and retail sales at the end of the week. So how do you see the loonie performing?
Well, I don't think the loonie is going to react to economic data too much. I do see some downside risks from the Bank of Canada meeting. If we do get the dovish commentary and an increase in the QE package, that might be enough to hurt the loonie even without a rate cut at this meeting. Overall, I would argue that the latest retreat in the loonie is likely to continue for now. We're looking at a situation where the Bank of Canada will probably turn dovish. The US dollar might continue the recovery it has shown in the last few days, and there are some news lately that the Biden administration is planning to cancel a big pipeline project relating to Canada, which is negative news for the nation's oil exporters. So a combination of all this, in addition to the risk of a potential correction in oil prices themselves after a huge rally lately, could keep the loonie under some pressure over the coming weeks at least.
Marios, thank you for joining me today. This was a Forex Preview on the Bank of Canada policy meeting on Wednesday. Thanks for watching at xm.com.